The super hot real estate market has created a new category of home sellers called the homeless seller. Now, these are homeowners who want to sell, yet because of low inventory of homes for sale, they're afraid they won't be able to find a home to buy. So in other words, they fear they will become homeless. And here to share some advice for those sellers is Winks real estate expert Denny Grimes from Denny Grimes and team at Keller Williams Realty. Good morning, Denny.
Good morning, Sabrina.
So good to have you this morning. So this sounds like an awful position. What should these sellers do?
It really is. However, I have some good news. Can you imagine the sellers out there have more equity in their property than ever before, and they feel trapped because they can't get it because they're afraid they won't find another house? So I've got some advice for these sellers. Number one, in this market, you have to decide if you're a buyer or a seller. You can't be both. Let me explain what I mean. For these sellers, if they can buy a home without selling, then they're a buyer. Then that's what they should do. They should go out and find the house they want, secure it, put it under contract, even close on it, then come back and sell, and selling won't be a challenge in this market. However, a lot of sellers can't do that, so they're sellers, not buyers, so they have to focus on selling first. And the key for these sellers, Sabrina, is number one, I want them to be realistic. I want them to be realistic on where they're going. Do they occasionally see a home that's affordable that they could eventually, if it was available and their home was sold, they could afford? I also want them to be reasonable in this market, particularly they're not going to find a seller out there that's going to sell them their home contingent on them selling their house. So they have to become a buyer, and the only way to do that is to sell. Now, if you want to take the fear out of it for the sellers, here's my advice. These sellers should list their home and put in the listing that they're looking for a buyer that will allow them to stay in the home for a period of time that gives them a comfort level to find another home to move into. We call that a post-closing occupancy, and it's common. That can happen in today's market.
Okay, Denny, so sellers can really sell their home and then move out later?
Yes, because number one, buyers are happy to find a house to buy because there's not a lot available. And there's buyers out there, Sabrina, that really don't want to move in right away. And that would be a hand glove. I like to say they can have their cake and eat it too. So sellers can win in this market and not worry about being homeless, either buy up front or sell with a post-closing possession agreement.
All right, well, that's great advice. Thank you so much for being with us today, Denny. Have a wonderful weekend.